Since my last video did so well, I hope you guys enjoy my first real video. I'm not sure if anyone else felt this way, but growing up, I always felt lonely. I felt like I never really fit in. Not with the regulars, the weird kids, and definitely not with the popular group. From kindergarten to probably 10th grade, I was always circling between different cliques and never really had a best friend or a group of people to go through grade school with. Well, I had a best friend situation once, but that's a whole different story. And I wasn't the typical loner that Hollywood tries to convey. I didn't sit in the corner in a black hoodie. I wasn't depressed. I wasn't completely disconnected. But instead, I was always adapting. I'd shift my interests, my personality, mirroring the people I wanted to connect with, adjusting who I was just enough to feel included when I found people exciting. I also felt really insecure about my appearance. I had this big forehead, rosacea, and I was always so sweaty from being nervous about people looking at me. I always felt like I was out of place. I was shy, scared, and kept to myself, and I've always felt very self-conscious in a public space, specifically at school. Whenever someone offered to invite me into their group at recess, I would just keep to myself, sitting in the grass, making flower crowns and wishing I was back in art class with the teacher that made me feel a little bit better about not having as many friends as the people around me. And I hated talking about crushes, especially in middle school. I remember this one time I mentioned that I thought this guy was cute, and by lunch it felt like the entire school knew what I had said. And I think that's when I realized popularity and beauty standards go hand in hand. Who would have thought? One of the most embarrassing moments I remember when it comes to sticking out was this one time when I went to summer camp. I sat down with the only guy I recognized from a different camp from the previous summer. He was talking with his friend, and in the midst of their conversation, after introducing me, the other guy looked at me with a shocked expression and just shouted, "That's a girl," in the whole building, and it felt like everyone turned their heads. My friend tried to laugh it off, but I remember this feeling of my heart dropping to my stomach and the embarrassment blooming across my face as I stood in shock at this random person's comment. It made me feel like that was what everyone else thought of me. They were just too polite not to say anything. And I totally didn't cry as soon as I got home. But by the time high school rolled around, my anxiety about people seemed to lessen, and I was more envious of what other parents let their kids do rather than being worried about what people thought of me. I had this phase in about junior year of high school where I would take this really intricate shower when my parents weren't home and then use my mom's skincare or makeup or hair products to pretend that I had more freedom than I really did, that I was more of an adult than I actually was, pretending to be a different person almost to feel an escape from what was expected of me. And now I still feel very skewed when it comes to looking at myself in the mirror, like I'm looking for something, anything that might have changed overnight. I know it's not the best thing for my mental health, but it's something that I'm still working on, and it does get better, and you are separate from your body. Now that I'm in college, I don't really have time to be worried about making friends as much as I do trying to get through all of my classes, but it still feels like people around me are forming these groups and lifetime experiences that I have yet to have. It feels like everyone around me goes out to parties or has coffee dates with each other, and I wonder how they do it. How they find people that fit in with them. I feel like I still stick out, and I know that there are people out there for me, but it really feels like sometimes I'm the problem. But on the other hand, I think being versatile can also be seen as a good thing. Since now I'm able to understand different types of people, I can place myself into anyone's shoes, and I have about a million different interests from the times where I gain knowledge of different fandoms or different music, and I can enjoy different parts of life. So if you're like me and you feel alone despite knowing a lot of people, or you feel like you stick out in weird ways and you can't really find your way in place with people, just know that it does get better as time goes on, and there are people out there for you. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment on your experience and anything that you might relate. I do read all of your comments, and thank you so much for all the love and support so far. Please remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next one.